issues like you're mentioning, social media.
There's a conversation that we have internally before we contact you. It might be I'm at home and I'm feeling the things I'm feeling. And there's a process that we take. I'm assuming that before you get the phone call, your patient is at home thinking like, I'm not feeling well. Or they're saying to themselves, could you touch on what do you think some of those, I know you don't know, but what can you assume some of those conversations are? Because the idea of the podcast and the method is ways that we can help, right? Now we've covered it that this is not one of those things where the method is going to be a 5-step method or a 2-step method. The method here is for them to contact a professional.
Yeah.
But prior to contacting that professional, there is a internal dialogue they're having.
Right.
What does that internal dialogue possibly sound like that might encourage them to say, listen, if these are the thoughts you're having and these are the things you're saying and feeling, possibly you could be going in this direction to get help?
Well, first of all, the same way if you have physical symptoms and you immediately don't think it twice, you go to a doctor. If you think I'm suffering, I'm not enjoying my life, something has been like this for a very long time, just doesn't go away. Whatever it is, you're suffering. And then you have to tell yourself, I can't do this alone. I need help. And it's not going to be friends. It's not going to be family, because they can give you advice. They can tell you what things they would want you to do because that's what they would do. But it might not fit what you need. So think about asking for help. And there's different ways to get that help. If you don't have the financial means, there's a lot of nonprofit organizations. Look for them. Just Google it. And look, in that case, you don't have many options because it's more limited. If it's a nonprofit organization, they will offer whatever they have available. Usually it's CBT, because one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that, and that's why CBT became so popular, because it's short. And that's what the influence of the insurance companies came into place. They don't want long therapies because they don't want to pay that long. So they want something short and sweet, something where you come, I say, I have a problem. What's your goal? Okay, let's find a solution. So in a few sessions, you're supposed to be good to go. And if you don't have the financial means, unfortunately, the government, unless you go to a psychiatrist, which we already explained what happens, the limitations with that. It's okay to go to a psychiatrist. Just if you don't want medication, just tell your psychiatrist, I'm here to talk. Most likely he's going to say, well, we're not going to talk. I'm going to give you medication. And so that's going to be a limitation. Some don't. Some say, some are trained, or some say, sure, come and talk. But then look for a nonprofit organization if you don't have the means. But if you do have the means, see it as an investment in yourself. If you can pay for it, and be honest. Sometimes you're paying for so many things that you think are that I don't know, video games, things that are not that important. But you think that paying a therapist, it's a waste of money. Well, it's not. You're investing on yourself. Even if you don't have a huge problem, you don't have to have a huge problem. It's something. It's a way to see life from a different perspective. It allows you to mature. It allows you to take responsibility, a little bit more responsibility about your life. That you have choices. You think you don't, but you do.
I wanted to end this on this, and I remember we've talked, and I should actually let people know I know you from my actual boxing class, my boxer fit class, and I never got a chance to speak to you for years, and then when I found out, I told you I was doing this. That's why I wanted to kind of have you on. If you could recommend a book.
A book?
Yeah. to our
Well, there's
listeners, or a few.
no. Well, I mean, I like reading. It's something that I enjoy. So there's novels. There's so many things, but it's going to be my personal choice. But if I have to recommend something, I remember once you asking me, what would you recommend if you have to recommend? I think you were asking more for a personal, a self-help book.
Yeah.
And
I'm so guilty of that. I'm guilty. Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's okay because it's very common that we think this individual is into this profession and I can get the answers. That's the other thing. We are all the experts in our own life. Nobody. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have. Nobody will know more about yourself than yourself. The therapist is just there to allow you to bring those things to the surface and find your inner strength, if you want to say, but doesn't know anything more than you know about yourself. A book that I would recommend that I love, I read it quite a few times because I just love it. It's a marvelous book. It's by an American Chinese author who died many, many years ago, so maybe most people don't know too much about him. He was a novelist, but he wrote this wonderful book called The Art of Living. And what he says in his book is he writes about that everything can be an art form. So he talks about making tea. It can be an art form of even being lazy. The art form of being lazy. So that's
you shouldn't have said that. There's a lot. I'm positive people are listening to this thing. Oh, okay, I'm good at that.
Okay, and that's great. That's great that you can be. But that's the other problem. Many people are feel guilty about being lazy in this society because we have that pressure. Money. We have to make money. We have to succeed. Well, no, we can also be lazy. Why not? And this book talks about, so many pages about the art of being lazy.
Gabriel, on that note, I appreciate everything you shared with us, and I would like to kind of have you back and we can go deeper down this road. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me here.